What is up, everybody? This is Julian Powers, or you can call me JP. This is going to be the first video I'm doing for a vlog series on personal training. I've been a personal trainer for about 2 years now. It's not a super long time, but I'm pretty analytical and I think a lot, and I'm good at analyzing a situation, and I guess you could say I have a good opinion on things. But I'm just going to go over some stuff that I've written down on my phone. That I feel is necessary to talk about for people who want to become a personal trainer, or basically for anyone who wants to be in the fitness industry. Again, depending on the person, you may completely disagree with me, that's cool. But again, at least take these things into consideration and see if they'll help you in becoming a personal trainer. First things first though, fun fact of the day, I was playing Halo earlier and some asshole got into a scorpion tag that was on my own team, and he team killed me. So for whoever that asshole is, you suck. But first things first, this video is going to be about when to listen to somebody who's an actual good trainer, and when not to, and basically what someone looks like and how should that impact your opinion of them when it comes to training. For example, if you've seen bodybuilders, if you follow the fitness industry really well, if you're subscribed to Louis Marco on YouTube, or you just you work out a lot, if someone has a lot of muscle mass on them and they tell you a tip, like a fitness tip, what do? I mean, it can be a little confusing sometimes. You know, are they right? Are they right just because they look good? I mean, it's a very confusing subject. I see it a lot of the times online where someone who, again, looks good, has a lot of muscle mass, whether or not they're on gear, which is steroids, or not, is affecting that. Maybe they have good genetics, you never know. But someone who looks good, they will automatically jump to their defense. Again, it could be for a lot of reasons. Maybe that person has followed, maybe that person is a fan of that YouTuber or fitness icon or whoever it is. But let me put the first point down just flat. Just because someone is fit does not necessarily mean that they are right at all. And with this day and age, with especially how YouTube and how steroids and basically performance enhancing drugs are very prevalent, and even if it's a natural athlete, someone who is let's just say someone who's genetically gifted, they may not necessarily be right on whatever subject it is, you know. So too many times do I see someone saying, oh, well, how much, you know, let's just say, for example, a YouTuber will say something, you know, regardless of what it is, they'll state a fact of an opinion of theirs. Someone will call them out on it in the YouTube comment section, and someone will defend the YouTuber by saying, well, how much can you lift, huh? How much are you bench pressing? You can't even unrack that weight, which it's a stupid reason to come at somebody. You know, anyone is open to criticism and anyone is open to critique. Me, any other YouTuber that you may follow. So when someone else, even if it's your favorite YouTuber that you always watch, they may put an opinion, a fact, whatever you want to call it, on a certain topic, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're right. You know, if someone makes a criticism towards that, and you feel, and it's an educated opinion or a fact that they're saying against the YouTuber, you know, be open-minded, listen to them. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. Pointing out that they're not as strong as them is not a really good, it's a horrible excuse not to listen to someone. It doesn't matter how strong you are when it comes to fitness and how much you know. And I know some of you are going to be saying, well, yes it does, it matters. Look at all these champion powerlifters or strongmen or whatever. Yeah, of course, science and facts go into lifting weight and being able to lift lots of weight. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are always right, you know. For example, you take two different people. One person who has great genetics, you know, lifting comes just easy to them, they look good, they just have that kind of hard body type where they just develop muscle mass really well and they have abs. But let's just assume that this guy is completely natural, he just is. And he has a pretty good workout program. He's not maybe the smartest when it comes to stuff, and he says that you always have to come down and touch your chest on bench press. let's just say that's the opinion that he says. Then you have another person who is generally fit, but let's just say, and they're completely natural, the person number two, but let's just say they have a hard time gaining muscle mass, And on top of that, let's just say they don't train for hypertrophy, so they're not someone who's looking to gain muscle. Let's just say they're a strength athlete. So then when they're natural, two, they don't gain muscle easily, and three, they're not even trying to gain muscle. So this person is genetically gifted to gain muscle, and they do hypertrophy training, and then this person is trying to do strength training. So, but this person says you don't have to touch your chest because some people biomechanically can't because it may cause shoulder impingement, it may cause other issues regarding their shoulder, their rotator cuff. It could lead to an injury, and this person says that depending, strength athletes and powerlifters, maybe powerlifters in general, have to touch their chest because of competition. But this person number two, the strength athlete, they say that for hypertrophy, you don't need to go all the way down and touch your chest if your goal is time under tension and good effort for a set, which makes a lot of sense. So far, I'm setting this up so person number two is right. Then person number one just says blatantly, oh, you have to touch your chest every single rep. It's cheating if you don't go down, which is kind of ignorant because some people, if they touch their chest every single rep, one, if you're training for hypertrophy, you don't have to touch your chest too. Hypertrophy is not about, oh, you have to do full range of motion every time. Yes, sometimes it is good to, but you don't have to. And again, that can cause shoulder impingement. Some people, especially, maybe someone with longer arms and a smaller chest, if they go touch their chest all the way down, they go way back here, they may have to, their humerus may have to go way behind their body for the bar to touch their chest. And there's a certain point where you're not really getting too much chest activation anymore, and you could just damage your shoulder. So again, in this case, the person who looks good isn't necessarily right. They're not. So again, please don't let, I see it too many times, well, this person does this person can lift this much weight. I don't care. And plus on top of that, this is the situation that I just gave you is a situation with two natural athletes. It gets even worse. It's really fucking annoying. It gets really bad when you have two, one person who's on gear and then one person who's natural. I mean, it doesn't matter. For example, if you take Omar Isuf, sorry if I fucked up his name, but he's a really intelligent YouTuber. I feel like, I believe he's completely natural. I think Vitruvian, I forgot, I might butcher his name too, Vitruvian Physique, he did his FFMI on Omar Isuf, and it was in the natural healthy range. But then you take someone like, let's just say, a Michael Hearn, who is obviously on gear, whether or not he wants to admit it or not. But you take these two people, and if Michael Hearn says something and Omar Isuf says something, and they contradict each other, are you really going to go with the bigger person here? Obviously, Michael Hearn is much bigger than Omar, but Omar is much more intelligent. If you listen to what he's saying, and despite being a natural athlete, for being natural, Omar Isuf is pretty strong. He has a pretty good physique. Again, not the same thing as someone who's on gear, taking steroids, but still a great physique for someone who's natural. So again, I could bring up examples all day, but again, just the point I'm trying to make is do not sit there and just believe someone just because they can lift more weight. Don't be a fanboy. Don't be a stan. Don't sit there and just agree with someone automatically just because they are they're big. That's a stupid reason to agree with someone. And on the other end of the spectrum, I can understand where people would require the person that they're talking to lead by example. Yes, but just because someone leading by example is great. Like, don't get me wrong. With me, I just started a new program too for myself. I'm working out 5 days a week. I'm a medically retired Marine. Trust me, I really believe in leading by example. But again, leading by example, all that does is give the person motivation to follow you. It makes them want to listen to you when you practice what you preach, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Again, every good leader needs to lead by example, but that does not mean that. But that is not a determinant for whether or not someone is right. For example, if you take let's just say you take someone overweight, they eat junk food, they drink beer, and then they claim that they're a nutritionist, and they tell you that. They may tell you that if you take in too much salt, it leads to high blood pressure, or if your LDL cholesterol is too high, that could lead up to the buildup of plaque. Both of those things are true. They are completely true. They've been backed up by scientific evidence. It doesn't matter if a fat person who's unhealthy or a skinny person who's not says it. They're both, regardless who says it, they're both right. So looking at that example too, but now look at it like this: if you went to both of these nutritionists for help, and you had one who practiced what he preached and one didn't, even though they are both telling facts, the guy who's unhealthy, even though he's telling a fact, you're not going to want to follow him. You're going to be a lot less motivated because he doesn't do it too. How is he going to tell you to do something when he doesn't do it himself? So yes, just because someone may or may not practice what they preach does not, again, it does not matter regardless if it's right. Yes, if that's a stupid ass assumption, you know. So I mean, I guarantee you, if you took someone well respected and they came up with some type of fact that they believe in, and that well respected person, let's just say we did an experiment, we gave that well respected person's fact to someone who doesn't work out and doesn't look like they work out, and they went and told someone, that person would probably want to argue them and say that they're wrong. But if you take the well-respected person and they said the same thing to that same person another day, I guarantee you they would say that it's right and they wouldn't argue it. Which, yeah, I can see why the person would want to argue against someone who doesn't look like they exercise, or it's like, you don't even live, bro. But it just doesn't matter. It's facts are facts, and you shouldn't let someone's facts or the way they look skew their facts and skew something that is still scientifically correct. So again, keep that in mind when you're meeting someone in the gym. I even heard it best online. There was a pretty ripped guy too. He posted his picture on Facebook. He said, you know, some of the best advice I got was from a skinny lifter. You know, and that's another reason too. Again, is think of it like this: strength athletes. Some, not all, a lot of them can be big. And I'm not specifically talking about strongmen. I'm talking about anyone who lifts for numbers. You know, I've seen some of the smallest guys, you know, be somewhere in the world champion level of lifting, you know. You may or may not watch that channel on YouTube called Bodybuilding Rev. They had it was one of their first videos when they started. There was a real skinny guy. I think he was Russian, I'm not sure. Skinny white guy. But he was squatting a shit ton of weight. Which again, it backs up my entire claim with this video, is if someone were to see him and he were to say, you know, if you went by the way they look, you may not think this guy lifts at all, and you may not listen to him, not knowing that this guy is a world-class athlete when it comes to squatting, powerlifting, and you know, again, he can hang with, you know, the big guys up there. So you can't sit there and stop gauging whether or not someone is correct on the way they look. Some people look fit and don't know jack shit, and they're just on gear, or maybe they have good genetics. Some people may only look okay, but they're extremely smart. Then there may be someone in the middle who looks pretty good, not steroid good, but they look good, and then they're also talking about. So please gauge someone's knowledge about what they know, and that's about it. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Again, this is personal trainer vlog number 1. Again, it's talking about again, don't judge a book by its cover, you know, go by what they are actually saying, and is it scientifically verifiable? Can you look at the research, and are they right or are they wrong? So again, it's still good to practice what you preach. I'm not going against that, trust me, I'm big on that, but again, it has nothing to do with solid facts. Again, please share this video with a friend, like my Facebook, I will link it below, but until next time, peace.